Hey everyone, welcome to my review for the Extremus camping knife, fixed blade outdoor knife with 7 CR17 stainless steel blade. So here's your sheath. It actually has a nice hole for this fire starter. I think this is a pretty standardized size for a fire starter, and so you just push that out there. And of course, the sheath won't hold every single fire starter in existence, but this is a pretty average size for one, so I'm assuming if you put another one in there, it's going to fit just fine. And the fire starter, of course, it does work. It's a fire starter. I'll show you where you want to strike that on the blade when we get there. But also, some issues with the sheath. It does rattle a little bit. It's locked in there for sure, but it's just a friction mechanism. Really nothing too special. And then the clip is just lazy little clip, you know. So the sheath, not great, but it will hold your fire starter that it comes with and probably any other fire starters you may have. So let's take the knife out. And it does have this paracord here. Here, let's pull it. See? Held that just fine. You can see it's not, this isn't the paracord, you know, Bear Grylls uses, but it's actually pretty solid. Really held onto my wrist very well. I was chopping a bunch of bushes and weeds today, and I mean, this thing was actually an all-star for me. It was a little difficult to clean. Of course, you probably saw I strike that fire starter a bunch of times on this, and this is where you usually want to strike it, right along here, so you can see some streaks left there from the sparks. But also one thing I wanted to mention before I get too ahead of myself, this serration, I actually nicked myself pretty good on this. It is very sharp, but I'm not a big fan of it. I would much prefer serration, of course, in a normal spot. You'd see usually around half the blade or a third of the blade down there. I'm not really sure why they put it on the top. It basically just kills it when it comes to, if you want to rest your thumb. You can just rest your thumb there. But if you want to rest your thumb on the blade for a little more torque action, that's not going to happen. This thing is very sharp. It will cut you, even with decent gloves on. But let's talk about that blade. This thing is actually, it seems like it's been hand sharpened, because there are a few spots on it that, you know, don't look quite right, but that's how you can usually tell that something was made by hand. And I have to say, this thing was very, very sharp when I first got it, and I was able to sharpen it even more. It's got a really great thickness, like, man, I'm really trying, and that is just not going to happen. So it's definitely, to me, it does seem like it's 7CR17. The strength of it would lead me to believe that that is true. Just a really solid, very, very sharp blade, and the handle feels great in the hand, and seems very tough as well. So I would say on the whole, this whole little kit here, very, very solid. It's just that it has a lot of competition when it comes to you know, like your small survival-oriented knife with a rubber plastic handle and a high carbon blade. There's a lot of different knives out there that you can get for around $15, $20 from more reputable brands that will give you a warranty as well. So it's hard to fully recommend this, but if it really caught your eye and you want something with a little fire starter hold, then this is definitely, then there's no harm in really getting it. If you go for something like a Mora instead, yeah, sure, that's the more safe bet, but I have to say, this knife really did work. And of course, the fire starter really does work as well. I really got some massive sparks out of this thing. That's kind of worrying. I was like, ooh, it's a little too good. So on the whole, I would say if you get this at $16, which is what I got it for, I would say it's like a 4 out of 5. It's not that there's necessarily something wrong with this knife in particular, other than the sheath being a little, you know, sheath's a little cheap. It's just that other options out there around this price point, or maybe even a little cheaper, are just a little more dependable, reliable, and just generally have a better status. So that's all I have on the Extremus camping knife for now. Thanks for watching.